Hey everybody, today I am here with my Jumbo-Chessmon deck. So the whole point of this deck is to pretty much make your opponent skip their turn. There are many different ways to do that with this deck, but it mainly revolves around the Tamers and Jumbo-Gami and an option card that we play. But we'll start off early here, just go into the eggs. The eggs, I'm running 4 Pagumons. Simple effect. On deletion, reveal the top card of your deck. Add it to your hand if it's a black Digimon. Otherwise, place it at the bottom of your deck. Very, very simple effect. Mostly run in most decks that are black. If anything, I could probably try and test and see if it could be replaced with Tumblemon. Make my blockers a bit more beefy. But I really don't want my blockers, or at least my smaller blockers, to get beefy. Mainly because I want them to get deleted. But you'll see why. Now, on to our level 3s. Obviously, can't be playing Chessmon without the original 8 here. Pawn Chessmon and, well, Pawn Chessmon. These two both have similar effects. On deletion, whenever they get deleted, they can play another level 3 or lower Digimon with Chessmon in its name from your hand without paying the cost. If you have 8 or more cards with Chessmon in their names in your trash, you add 2 to the maximum level of this card this effect can play. So you can essentially have an on deletion effect for both of these and get up to a level 5 to play for free in your hand. But you're not really looking to try and get as many Chessmon into your trash as possible. These are mainly in here to have as black and yellow Digimon, and you'll see why in a little bit. Now, the interesting thing about the Chessmon deck is that you kind of have to remember that some of the effects are on your turn and some of them are on your opponent's turn. Blocker will always be on your opponent's turn. The regular one will be on your turn. So it kind of has a strange synergy. I believe the whole point was to have this one out first, swing with it. If it gets deleted, play out the blocker. So that way, now you have a blocker in your turn, and then you block with it if they try to attack, and then you play out another one. I think that's the whole point of that, but that's not really what we're going to be using it for. We're mainly going to be using it to pass our opponent's turn. And we do run one more level 3. This synergizes really well with the deck because it can help you find your pieces, grab something that you absolutely need. Playing 4 Gatsumon. Now, this is a blocker, and it kind of works well with the deck because you have to remember that most of these effects are on your opponent's turn. So when it gets deleted, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can add 1 black card among them to your hand. So it doesn't have to be just a Digimon. It can be a Tamer or option card as well as a Digimon. So you can grab one of those 3 and then bottom deck the rest. I have added the option card to my hand with this plenty of times before. It really works well to help finding your pieces. Now on to our level 4s. Since it is Chessmon, we do need to run as many of these black and yellow Chessmons as possible. So we have 4 Knight Chessmon and another 4 Chessmon. Very similar effect to Pawn Chessmon. This one's a blocker, this one's not. On deletion, this one's on your turn, this one's on your opponent's. You can play a level 4 lower Digimon with Chessmon in its name from your hand without paying the cost. So once again, that whole synergy, block with this one, play out that one, or if you only have a Pawn Chessmon in hand, you can at least play that. These don't get the other effects like the Pawn Chessmon, so it has to be a level 4 or lower. Also, they do have the inheritables or reboots. The ones that if they get deleted on your turn, have the reboot effect. So when you get up to your level 6s or level 5s, that's a blocker, and you still want to try to attack, you can swing with it, and then it'll gain reboot, and you'll still get that blocker effect. But I personally don't like to attack unless I've established a board, but you could get risky. Anyway, so we do run at least a couple more level 4s here. We run at least 3 Seraphithmon. So this is a hybrid. So if you need to, you can hybrid for game with this, though it does cost 3 to do that. So when digivolving, though, this is the part that is the reason why he's in this deck. Because when digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains start of your main phase, this Digimon attacks. So this is a free way to make sure that your opponent attacks into you, and that's kind of what you want in this deck, is your opponent to be attacking you as much as often and at the start of their main phase, so you can end up skipping their turn. Right, now on to the level 5s. Now this is where I start to dwindle down a little bit with the Chessmon setup. So I only run 3 Rook Chess and 1 Bishop Chessmon. Now the reason why I have this such split different way, these are not the level 5s that you want to be going into. They are good, and they're good for a later part of the game, but early you don't quite want to see these guys in your stack right away. But they're really good. As with all of the other Chessmons, if you digivolve on top of a Chessmon with these ones, the digivolve cost is at least 1 less. So these will go 3 on top of a level 4s. The level 4s will go for 2 on top of a level 3. But these have similar effects. So on deletion, your opponent's turn, play a level 5 or lower Digimon with Chessmon in its name. And this one, if it deletes on your turn, you play a level 5 with Chessmon in its name from your hand without paying the costs. And once again, the reason why I have these kind of split this way is mainly because of the reboot. If I do get up to this one and I need to start swinging with my level 6s, then the reboot will guarantee that I still have a blocker at least. The main level 5 that you want to see is this guy, Paimon. Now, the reason why you want to see him more often than your other level 5s is because the deck does play a lot of tamers. Tamers are essential to making your opponent skip your turn. Paimon on play or when digivolving, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You may play 1 tamer with a play cost of 4 or less among them without paying the cost, and then you place you place the rest at the top or bottom in any order. Now, that is also great, because if you see the options that you need, or you see some other stuff that you need, so you play the tamer, you can put them back on top. That's one thing that I really love about Mamemon, that not only are you getting a tamer if there is one, if you don't see pieces that you need, you just put them at the bottom of the deck. This guy can help out quite a lot in trying to set up your plays and get stuff that you need. It's inheritable as your turn once per turn. When you play another Digimon by an effect, one of your Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. You don't really see or need this too often, mainly because it won't ever really proc, because when you're playing your Digimon, it's on your opponent's turn. And most of your Digimon have blocker anyway. But if you do need to swing with the on deletions on your turn and you don't have a blocker, you can play out the on deletion on your turn and have a blocker just in case. But you got to remember that you won't get the on deletion because it's not your turn when it gets deleted if you block with it. But still, if you need the blockers, Mamemon can also help out with that as well. Now, on to the boss monsters. This is where we're starting to be able to see how we're able to actually skip our opponent's turn. Well, the start of it anyway. Once you get your stack up to level 5 with Mamemon or the Chessmons, go into Jumbo-Gami. Jumbo-Gami is a blocker. Opponent's turn. When an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may play a level 5 or lower Digimon card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying the cost. So, if you don't get your search with Mamemon on your first try, make your opponent attack, play him from underneath, and you got another 5 searches. And then you also have another level 5 to be able to get into another level 6, another body on board, and you're able to get more tamers out on the field. And this is not once per turn, by the way. So if your opponent has a giant board, or at least a good few Digimon, and they do multiple swings, you can play out as many as you can until you get down to your egg. It is a Digivolve cost for 5 on top of a level 5, so it is quite costly. But if you're at least able to get your memory to 3, play the option for 1, which I'll show you in a minute, and then Digivolve for 5, and you have enough tamers on your side of the field, it won't matter. It won't matter at all. And then we do have at least 2 more level 6s that I like to play. That is Queen Chessmon. I don't want to run King Chess in this because I find that King Chessmon actually doesn't synergize as well as I would like. I've seen some people run King Chess. I've seen some lists run 4 Queen Chess, 4 King Chess, and 4 Jumbo Gamis. And I'm thinking that's way too many level 6. So what Queen Chessmon, the reason why I run her is Digivolve for 400 on top of a 5. It's a little bit less than Jumbo Gami, but if you're doing it on top of a Chessmon, or at least a level 5 with Chessmon in its name, it only costs for 3. It is a blocker as well. All turns when one of your Digimon with Chessmon in its name is deleted, you unsuspend this Digimon. So this can be a very defensive card, and it can also be a very aggressive heavy card. There have been plenty of times where I Digivolve on top of a Mamemon, or Digivolve on top of a Rook Chessmon or Bishop Chess, swing at security with Queen Chess. This could be a small little this could be like a small little 1k Pawn Chessmon. Swing with him. He dies. This unsuspends. Attack again. I have a little Knight Chessmon over here. Swing over there. He dies. Unsuspend. Attack again. The deck works really well with Queen Chessmon more than King Chessmon. So you can either be very defensive or very offensive with this card. It's good either way. But that's the reason why I run Queen Chess. And I only run 2, mainly because I want to see Jumbo Gami more than Queen Chess, or at least in the early part of the game. Now we run on to our tamers, and this is where it starts to actually be able to skip your opponent's turn. So the main tamers of the deck will be Miki and Megumi. On play, you may play 1 Digimon card with Pawn Chessmon in its name from your hand without paying the cost. Great. Play the tamer, get a free body on board, and then you can do its all turns. When you play a 2-color black and yellow Digimon, you can suspend the tamer to draw 1 and gain a memory. So you can start skipping your opponent's turn with just 2 of these. As long as your opponent does not have a memory setter that sets them to 3, leave them with 1. Have 2 of these on board with a Jumbo Game, or even one of your lower levels. It doesn't matter. As long as they force an attack, delete your blocker, Pawn Chessmon. So they just delete your Pawn Chessmon, your blocker here. Like say you have just this guy. Leave him at 1 with Laplace Demon or some other thing. Block with this. Delete it and just play another one. Suspend both of these. Gain 2 memory. Draw 2. And then it's back to your turn and these and ready for it again. So that's pretty much how you can skip your opponent's turn. But these aren't just the only cards that we play that make it possible to do that as well. There are 3 more cards that we run as tamers that do the similar effect that I'm considering bumping up to 4. That is Keen and Crier. Now, this is a purple tamer, which is kind of strange, but he does essentially the same thing that Miki and Megumi do. Only this one can actually proc if you don't have a black and yellow Digimon under your Jumbo Gami stack. So he can gain you memory the same way. But he also synergizes with Miki and Megumi. So on play, your opponent may trash one tamer card or option card in their hand. If they don't, you gain a memory and draw one. Simple effect. What you're looking for is opponent's turn. When an effect plays a Digimon, by suspending this tamer, gain one memory. So your opponent doesn't have to proc this. You don't have to proc this. It doesn't matter who procs this. If anybody plays a Digimon by an effect, you suspend them to gain a memory. That's why it synergizes so well with this. You have like two of these on field. You force your opponent to attack. Jumbo-Gami plays Mamemon or plays a black and yellow. Suspend the tamers, gain all the memory back, and just pass their turn. It's especially better if you have more of these on the field, because not only do you pass turn, you also draw. But this is also another fantastic way of getting opponent to skip their turn, because sometimes you just don't have that black and yellow Digimon under your stack, so you can play Mamemon and still at least gain some memory. So and even if you don't pass it your turn, you can still memory choke them to 0. If they have a memory setter and you at least have 3 of them, of any of them, just force them to 0. They literally will probably not be able to do very much with 0 memory, but still. We do also run 2 more tamers. This is the one I'm considering bumping down to, or lowering down to 1, so I can bump up Keenan up to 4. That's Izzy. We do run 2 Izzies because the deck is pretty much like 99% black. The only ones that are not. So memory setter. So start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, you set it to 3. On play, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If all of them are black, you gain a memory. And this is another great way to set up the top of your deck, so you know what you need next, what you can get next. And this is good for an early part of the game if you do only have a couple of the tamers. So if you have an Izzy, at least you skip their turn, you go back up to 3. It's a good way to make sure that you at least have 3. But with the way that you play this deck, when you get to the Mamemon, you're going to be having a lot of those tamers out. So he's really only good in the early part of the game, which is why I'm considering taking him out of the deck and maybe making it a 1 of, and Keenan Crier up to at least a 4. Or not, the max of 4. Anyway, so now we go to our option cards, and we only have these 4. It is Laplace's Demon. Now, this is the better way of making your opponent attack during the start of the main phase, because it is an option card with only 1 cost. It pretty much is until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains start of your main phase. This Digimon attacks. Easy effect and easy. It's just it's the better way of getting your opponent to attack you during their turn, to make them skip their turn, so that your Jumbo-Gami can essentially make them attack and play out your pieces. This is one of the main cards you definitely need a 4 of. The only option you really need, I used to run Black Mem Boost and reinforcing Mem Boost, but they didn't. I was usually end up passing this card up, because Black Mem Boost doesn't get you a black card, it gets you a Digimon. And reinforcing, I just never wanted to play it because its cost was too high. So this is definitely one of the better options, or the best option. Now you could, if you wanted to make the deck a bit more competitive or competitively viable, is running a couple of these cards. So could run at least maybe 1 of Quartzmon if you wanted to, because when Digivolving, suspend all other Digimon and Tamers, and then for every 2 suspended Digimon and or Tamers, you gain a memory. You're going to have a lot of bodies on board. You're going to have a lot of Tamers. Quartzmon can definitely get you to that that momentum. You can just swing with him. You have so many bodies and tamers on board, and it just trashes security and then checks. So that is one way to do it. The only thing that I don't like about Quartzmon in the deck is that it is a green. So it's another card for Izzy to hit and potentially not get you any memory. You can't search it. So even if you hit it with Gatsumon, or like, the only way you can really get this is if you hard draw it, or if you see it with a Mamemon and put it at the top of your deck. But that's another card that you're like, do I want it? Do I not want it? Is it too early? Is it too late? If you get it too early, then you have a useless card in your hand and you don't have your stack, or you don't have your memory ready, or your memory tamers ready. But it is definitely a level 7 that can be considered in the deck. The only other option that I could consider putting in it would probably be Death X. The reason why I suggest Death X, because it is a purple and black, is searchable. It is a very powerful card. You digivolve all of your opponent's Digimon and then delete all of their level 4 or lower. And then end of turn, you delete all their Digimon with the lowest play cost. So this is one way to ensure that you're also controlling your opponent's board and not also kind of outing yourself with Quartzmon, because Quartzmon can work in your benefit. But if you're going against the right deck, they can just out Quartzmon instantly, and your whole stack that you built and some of the stuff that you have won't matter anymore. But yeah, so that is my considerations on what you should use for the deck if you do want to add a level 7 to it. I'm not sure what you would take out. Maybe one of the level 4 hybrids, maybe my suggestion. But anyway, that is my deck profile for my Jumbo-Chessmon deck. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.